Hello, everybody, and welcome into another playoff preview show here at the Hockey Writers. I'm your host, Matthew Zator, and I'm joined in by Brian Swane and Cooper Krigbaum, who are still standing in the second round now. We got the Edmonton Oilers, Vegas Golden Knights going up against each other, Pacific Division rivals. Second round, more Pacific Division. We had the Golden Knights play against the Wild. They were on the same division, but the Oilers went against the Kings. So this is another Pacific Division. Brian, how's it going?
I wasn't expecting you back here, I'll be honest. So, happy to join you again. Let's ride this thing out as long as we can.
For sure. Yeah, there was a little bit of question mark at the beginning because they did, the Oilers did fall behind, but then came roaring back. And then, of course, are in the second round. And Cooper, your Golden Knights are into the second round as well. Maybe a bit of a scare against the Wild as well. I mean, the Wild played them pretty hard, but how's it going?
Yeah, a little scary after game 3. I was a little worried, I'll be honest. But doing good. It's only 70 degrees here in Phoenix, so for that, May is a dream.
For sure. Yeah, it's getting a little warmer now in BC here, but still the weird spring where there's rain and then a nice sunny day and then you got rain again. Yeah, but let's get into this matchup now, and I'll start with you, Cooper. We're gonna go and talking about that first round against the Minnesota Wild. You say there was a point where it looked like the Wild could have maybe won the series, but the Golden Knights kind of put everything back together and then won in 6. What do you think about that matchup?
Yeah, I think after the first game, I think you really saw like both teams trying to figure each other out. I think there was a lot of just testing out a lot of stuff. Obviously, Vegas took game 1 4-2, but I think after that is where the Wild. I mean, I think you guys all saw it. Kaprizov, Boldy. I mean, some of those plays, I'm just like, I mean, that's just ridiculous. So I mean, like they really give a run for Vegas, and I think that adversity will probably help them in the long run, depending on how this series goes and how long they make it in the playoffs. But I think having that sort of helped them, but I think also the adjustments they needed to make to get past them could definitely help them heading into the round 2 against Edmonton. Cassie's adjustments in particular were very nice, especially with the first line. He put Carlson, Stone, and Eichel together, which really shut down that Wild's first line within I guess games 5 and 6, because first couple games they tore him up. But I think it really tested him, and I think it showed the kind of team Vegas wants to be and that they are. So it was a fun series. It was a lot of good games, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Kaprizov really carried the Wild in that series that Matt Boldy was
for sure
said. So I mean, yeah, I think if Kaprizov was healthy all season, I don't think they would have met up against the Golden Knights. They would have been higher in the Central Division, personally.
Right.
But it was a good series all around for sure. So we'll see how it goes in the next one here. Brian, the Oilers one was, like you said, not sure you were going to be here. The Kings took it to them in the first couple games, but it was a crazy series all around. I mean, lots of high scoring games. Pretty much you say there was no goaltending in that series, I don't think. Darcy Kemper, we talked about how good he was all season. He was a bit of a sieve in that series. And then, of course, Skinner getting pulled, Calvin Pickard coming in now looks, I mean, we'll talk about it later here. What do you think about the journey? It was a bit rocky for the Oilers.
Yeah, man, I've been around longer than I would care to admit. So I've seen a lot of Oilers hockey going back over the years, and I don't know if I've quite seen a series like that. Just, unbelievable. The Oilers, they were dead, and they should have been, buried several times. And I think where the series really swung is on the infamous Jim Hiller's decision to challenge Evander Kane's game-tying goal in Game 3, which then led to the Oilers' power play that put them ahead, gave them the go-ahead goal, and that just really launched the series comeback. And it's just like everything was going in the Oilers' favor from that point on. It didn't seem to matter what happened, what the scenario was. They'd get behind by a couple goals early. They had a couple. I mean, Game 4 they had to pull it out with a game-tying goal in the last minute too, and then win in overtime. And it's just like I don't know. I can't even really explain it. It's the hockey gods were on their side.
Yeah. And that's probably a good way to put it. And the thing is that it seems like, and Kings fans are probably looking at, my gosh, hockey gods are not on our side at all.
I feel so much for the Kings right now and their fans too. Like, I think I was saying this when we were on, or when I was on in last time, like playing against the same team 4 years in a row. Edmonton did that with Dallas in the late 90s, early 2000s. So, I mean, I know what, how it feels to be on the other side of this when you just got that one team that you can't beat, but especially this year, because it was right there for LA. They were up 2-0 and they were about 7 minutes away from a 3-0 series lead. And I almost kind of think that's why Hiller did why he made, because it's a very questionable challenge that he made to challenge that goal when you look back on it. And I almost think he was thinking, like, you know what? If we get this, we win this game, we're up 3-0, and we finally buried them.
Yeah.
I almost think that was what was informing his decision to do that in that moment. And it backfired tremendously.
Yeah, exactly. Because the Oilers went and won the rest of the games, right? Yeah, so we'll see how that all kind of plays out going forward here against the Golden Knights. Well, shifting there, and let's talk about some storylines going into this series, because there are a few here where you're looking at both sides. They got some high-powered offense on both sides. Got some really good on the Golden Knights side, looking at maybe the matchup Jack Eichel versus Connor McDavid, or Jack Eichel versus Leon Draisaitl, or whatever you want to kind of go with. I'll start with you, Cooper. What are some storylines going into this series that you think everyone should be focusing on here?
Well, yeah, I think you kind of touched on it. I mean, can Vegas shut down McDavid and Draisaitl? I don't think any team is going to be able to completely eliminate them from the game, but it's how much you can contain them, I think. I mean, they're two of the best players. They're the best players in the world. I think that's a fair take. But, I mean, how well are they going to be able to handle that? I mean, I think after what Kaprizov and Boldy did, I think it was a good test. I mean, but it's really, you can't really compare anyone to McDavid and Draisaitl. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I'm intrigued to see how they handle that. I mean, I think Aiden Hill is another storyline. I mean, he wasn't great in round one. He had those back-to-back 5-2 losses. But then he kind of found his way towards the end. Not completely, but I think you have to have good goaltending. And I think, especially in the playoffs. So I think in that measure, it's going to be interesting to see how he handles that kind of pressure. And then I think another one is just Bruce Cassidy. I think he's a really interesting head coach to, like, once you figure out kind of his tactics and stuff, it's like, okay, that was like really smart. I didn't even think of that. So to that, I really wonder how he's going to handle McDavid and Draisaitl again, because they're the two best players in the world. How are you going to approach that? What are you going to do with the defensemen? How are you going to structure that? I mean, Vegas has been so well defensively all year, I feel like, but playoffs are a different beast. So I'm really interested to see how those things follow out.
Sure. I mean, Jack Eichel probably could be in the conversation for the Selke Trophy. He's a guy that is really good all season. Of course, Mark Stone has been in that conversation many years as well. So do you hard match those guys against them? I don't know. It's going to be an interesting thing, maybe the chess match in the series, to see how it goes, because you got Jack Eichel and Mark Stone are really good. They're not just defensive players. They're guys that the Oilers are going to have to try to shut down too, because they can score. So it's going to be interesting to see. Brian, what about you for storylines you got for the Oilers? I mean, the goaltending is probably a big one. Is Pickard the guy that's going to be able to do it? And there's been talk about Stuart Skinner starting game one. I don't know if that's the right call, but what storyline are you looking at here?
Yeah, no, that's it. It is goaltending. Obviously, everything that went on in the first series, just unprecedented, really, with Skinner struggling the first couple games, and then Pickard, a guy with virtually, only a couple games NHL playoff experience, comes in and backstops the team to 4 straight wins. And he was, he wasn't bad, but he wasn't great. He didn't steal any games for them. He was just good enough. Like you said, Darcy Kemper, he had a tremendous season. Well, with all due respect, I think you have the perfect word for it. He was a sieve in that series. The Oilers aren't going to be able to get away with that against Vegas. They're going to need better goaltending. Can Pickard provide that, or are they going to go back to Skinner, and can Skinner recapture, if that is the case, then can Skinner recapture the form that he had in the playoffs that got them all the way to Game 7 of the final last year? If he can do that, then that gives the Oilers a chance to win. But if he, if he plays like he has for the majority of this season, and then as we saw again in Games 1 and 2 against Los Angeles, I don't think that's going to be good enough against a team the caliber of the Golden Knights. So that to me is the biggest question. There's so many questions around the Oilers goaltending situation. Not only who is going to start, but then once Knobloch decides who it's going to be, then how do they perform? So, that to me is like the top 3 storylines, probably all center around goaltending as far as this team is concerned.
Sure, and I mean, you're looking at the Golden Knights. I mean, you mentioned it, Cooper, with Adin Hill. He's playoff battle tested. He's won a cup. He didn't look, like you said, didn't look the 100% the best in the first round, but he didn't look horrible. So I mean, I think the upper hand definitely goes Golden Knights for goaltending right now, but we'll see how Game 1 goes. If both goalies or if it's going to be a 7-4 game or something crazy. I don't know, but we'll see in Game 1. All right, Cooper, you mentioned Adin Hill as being a player to watch. And of course, we've mentioned Jack Eichel. Anyone else you're kind of focusing on going into this series against the Oilers?
I think I mentioned him against in the first preview we did with Maria, but Pavel Dorofeyev, he got hurt in Game 6. He only had a goal and assist for 2 points in all 5 games that he played in. I don't know if he's going to play tomorrow. They said he was still day-to-day today, but this is a guy that led the team in goals in the regular season, and I think it's only have 2 points, depending on how much further, if he plays tomorrow. You got to kind of step it up, and I think he is definitely a player that Vegas relied on during the regular season, especially on the power play. So it's going to be interesting to see if he's going to be able to step up. And then obviously, I mean, we could talk about him probably for days, but Jack Eichel, Mark Stone, really that entire first line is going to be interesting to see because when they're on, they're on. And I think everyone knows that. So, I mean, they picked it up slowly. I mean, Eichel, I think, had 1 point in the first 4 games. So, and then he obviously trickled in some, I think it's 5 points in 6 games now. But those players have to be playing well or else you really don't have a chance against the Oilers. I mean, obviously, I think Vegas has one of the better depth teams in the league, but I think you need your star players to be playing at their level. And I think those are some of the guys that I'm going to be watching for sure.
Yeah, like you say with Stone and Eichel, I mean, they're the top line. I don't know if the Oilers are going to do what they did towards the end of the series there with putting Draisaitl and McDavid together. You could go head to head, star power against star power.
Right, yeah.
It would be kind of a fun thing to see if that ends up being the case. But yeah, there's some interesting matchups to see, and definitely those guys are going to be in Dorofeyev if he can come back. That's a big 30 goal scorer being added to your lineup.
Right,
it's big to be there. Brian, we have talked about Draisaitl and McDavid. Of course, those guys are going to be watching, but in Game 6. Who were the guys that came forward? It wasn't them. It was the depth that won that game. So you started seeing some of the more bottom 6 guys coming to the forefront. Who are you watching going into this one?
Yeah, I mean, the Oilers scored, 6 goals in that game, I guess? Yeah, 6-4. And Draisaitl and McDavid had 1 point between the two of them combined. Like, that's just you would never, a few years ago, that would have been unheard of. So it does speak to the depth scoring, and depth scoring was huge throughout that series. Like I think 12 players scored at least a goal, 19 players had a point, like something like eight or 9 players had 2 goals. So yeah, I mean that's what it's going to take, and that's what they got in that series. You had guys all down the lineup stepping up. Adam Henrique came up with some big goals. Corey Perry, the one guy that really stands out, and I think swung this series to some extent anyway against LA. Was Evander Kane. And, we talked about him in the preview for the Kings series about whether he would come back. And from the moment he came back in Game 2, he just provided the Oilers something that they've been missing. Guy who can, just gets in the grill of the opposing goalie and causes all kinds of havoc there, and just the physicality and kind of the grit that he brings to a game that the Oilers don't really have too many other guys that provide that. And he scored a couple of big goals in the series. I think he was a huge key. A huge key. And I just think that you can just see how things switched when he came into the lineup. So he's going to be someone to watch. And yeah, like you mentioned, the depth scoring, the Oilers are going to need someone else to 2 or 3 guys probably to step up and provide that. And whether that will be Trent Frederick, or they haven't got a lot of the Victor Arvidsson in round 1. So that's someone watching too, because they signed him for this time of year.
Yeah, for sure. And he was, of course, hurt after he was acquired and didn't play for a while. He was hurt again. But yeah, he's been healthy. He's starting to look a bit more like the guy that they want. So yeah, that's a big one. And unfortunately, at the expense of Jeff Skinner not playing, I read the article that you put out this morning.
I think he's going to find his way back in yet. Hopefully he gets his big playoff moment yet.
Yeah, and he only played 1 game. He's only played 1 game, right?
Yes, yeah, because Kane took a spot in the lineup. So, yeah.
And of course, you don't change the winning
15 years, waits 15 years, gets 1 game, and see ya.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if he can make it back into maybe this series or beyond. We'll see how that goes. All right, let's I've switched this up. It's a similar question, but it's more of a quick fire one. So I'll start with you, Cooper. The Golden Knights will win this series if?
I think it's going to come down to their depth scoring. I think they need guys like Barbashev, Kolzar, Waugh. I mean, they're going to need these guys to be on their A game, because the top line can't do it by themselves. I mean, even a guy like Brett Howden, 3 goals in 6 games. He had the OT winner in game 4, I'd like to say, or 5. They're going to need all their depth scoring to be going, and I think that's going to be crucial against this Edmonton team.
Yeah, I mean, probably going to be maybe. I mean, I won't take your answer, Brian. A big one for this one too. What about the Oilers? Oilers will win this series.
Oilers will win this series if they can get better caliber goaltending.
Yeah,
we already touched on that.
Yeah,
but that's but on top of that too, the defensive play needs to be better, and it was better towards the end of the series against Los Angeles. I think that's a big part of the reason why it swung too. So both of those things hand in hand. The Oilers are just going to have to be better in their end, and that starts from the crease out.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter what goalie you've got in net. That's how the Jets. I mean, Hellebuck wasn't the best, but they weren't also playing very well in front of them too. So I think that's huge. I mean, you can have the best goalie in net. And
the ratio of Bouchard bombs that go in the opposing team's net as opposed to Bouchard bombs he serves up to the opposition needs to be at least 2-1 in the Oilers' favor.
That's very true. Evan Bouchard.
We'll be counting. We'll have a counter.
Yeah. There'll be games when there'll be like 3 going one way and 2 going the other way, and it's just like it's you see in one moment why they put up with all the nonsense, and then it's it goes back and forth. So
yeah, he is an interesting defenseman. That's for
he
sure.
is, and he's going to get paid. He's going to get paid this offseason though. So
yeah, for sure. All right. Well, on that note, I mean, X factors, he can probably be one of them. I'll start with you, Brian. Now, what's an X factor in this series? I know we mentioned goaltending. That's going to be probably a huge one. But anything else, any players or any situations that you want to kind of highlight as an X factor for the Oilers?
Yeah, a couple of ones. Quickly is for situations, definitely penalty kill. The Oilers got lit up. I think it was like seven of their first. LA scored on 7 of their first 12 power play opportunities in the series, and then the Oilers finally shorted up a little bit and didn't allow a power play goal in the last couple games. Last season, when they made their run to the finals, they only gave up 4 power play goals in the entire playoffs over 25 games. And I just think that edge in special teams was so critical in every series that they won. So they can't, again, they're stepping up a weight class here, going from the Kings to the Knights, I think, with all due respect to the Kings. I just think the Knights are a much more talented opponent, and they're also have a much more potent power play. The Oilers can't play with that. So that would be a situationally what I think is the X factor. As far as players go, I mean, Matthias Ekholm, it sounds like he's out for this entire round again, so the Oilers got to figure out a way to get by without him. And John Klingberg, when he came back into the lineup, because he'd also missed a lot of time with injury too, he made a bit of a difference. I mean, this is a guy that's got a lot of playoff experience, and it showed. And he's been logging 20 minutes a night. He's looked better as each game has gone on. And he's kind of helped stabilize that back end a little bit. So he would probably be my X factor as a player. If he can continue to do that, that will be a big, big boost for the Oilers.
Yeah, he's a guy that he's a veteran. He's been around the block a bit in the playoffs too, like you said. So that's a big guy to be in the lineup. I mean, defensively, he's probably not the best, but he can be a factor. He can move, good puck mover.
Yeah, exactly.
Too, which is huge. Going to be against the Golden Knights too, because you can't be stuck onto a really good forechecking team. So moving the puck out quickly is going to be a key. Cooper, what about you for the Golden Knights? What do you see as X factors?
For players first, I think it's kind of a group thing. It's just how do we defend? I think along with that is, can they produce as well? It's kind of 2 in 1, but I think the Shea Theodores, Noah Hannafins, these guys got to be playing well, and I think they're going to have to be able to contribute some sort. I mean, Shea Theodore, I'm looking at it right now. He had 2 goals and 2 assists, 4 points. I mean, it's good on the stat sheet, but when you're watching the game, it's not like you're not drawn to him, which as a defenseman can be a great thing. Mm-hmm. But I think they're going to need to be producing just to help the top line out, help the rest of the lines out. And then I think secondly, just as a bigger team, I think the power play has got to be on. I think they had the 4th or 3rd best in the league in the regular season. It was not really doing it much against the Wild. I mean, not really standing out. So I think they're going to have special teams on PK as well. Just have both of them on. And I think, like you said, Brian, just like when you have special teams and you have that edge in that department, it goes a long way.
Yeah, I think especially too, because it seems I haven't looked up the stats, but it seems to me there's less power play opportunities than ever before in the playoffs this year. Like teams are getting like 2 or 3 a game. So it's so critical when you get that 1 or 2 chances, you got to convert.
100%.
Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, we've talked about special teams many times on these preview shows, and it is a big difference, especially when you don't get as many as the regular season. They're key to get. And on the other side, not executing on power plays can be big to determine a game too. So, yeah, that's going to be huge. All right, let's get to our final predictions, and I'll give you guys an opportunity you can give a bold prediction at the first, and then give us a final for who you think will win and in how many games. And I'll start with you, Cooper. What do you got?
I'm going to stay in the middle ground, and I'm going to say one of these teams is going to win 7 games. I'm not going to decide on who, because I think this series goes the length, and I feel like whenever I say a team, the exact opposite is going to happen. But I don't think this will be a short series. I don't think anyone expects it to be. I mean, I think at one point the entire West was tied at 2-2. Which just looking at that was a little absurd. I'm like, all right, this is just nuts. But I don't think this will be a short series. This won't be done 4 or 5 games. I don't even think it gets done 6. It's going to be a long series. And, I mean, a crazy stat I read today, in 2023 when they played each other round 2, there was a combined 132 penalty minutes between both of these teams. So they're not going to like each other. There's going to be a lot of scraps, possibly some suspensions like in 2023. But that just makes it a lot more fun to watch. And it's going to be an interesting series. But I do think this goes the length to 7 games for either team.
Yeah, Brian, what do you guys? 7-game series for you too, or are you gonna give who's gonna win?
Yeah, no, I'll do that because I was saying off the top, I made the mistake of picking against the Oilers in round 1, and I can't even give you like a reason why. it's just like I say, like the hockey gods seem to be on this team's side right now, and I'm not going to pick against them. So I'll just say Oilers in 7. And I don't really have any good reason for you. This is more of just like a gut instinct, a gut feel kind of thing. But I agree with everything Cooper said, and that's why I'm saying in 7. Because like this, the teams were 2-2 against each other during the regular season too, right? And I mean, all the games could have really gone either way. They were all close. There was no blowouts or anything. So. Yeah, and again, as Cooper also mentioned too, the history between the teams in 2023, all signs indicate that this is going to be a long and very close and hard-fought series. So I'll say that. But you want a bold prediction too? Because I got a good one.
Bold, yeah.
Okay, the Oilers are going to have 2 different goalies win at least one game in this series.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. I don't know if one is going to be enough for this one either. I have no confidence in those goals. I don't know. I just haven't given me anything.
No, nor should you.
I mean, even in the Stanley Cup, like last year when the Stanley Cup final, I mean, I don't know if any of the goalies really had. I mean, Pickard only came in for a few games in the Canucks series. I don't think he came in the final.
He just started 2. He was in for games 4 and 5.
Right. So, I mean, it is still, I mean, there hasn't been clear cut that you're saying, yes, definitely that goal is going to be the one. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be I think it's still going to be a fun series. I mean, it's like flashback to 2023. We have the Maple Leafs and Panthers and the East. We got the Oilers and Golden Knights. It's like we're in 2023 again, but I'll give a prediction. I'm saying 7 games. It's probably going to go 7. I'm not really sure who's going to win it, though. I want to go Oilers because I want the All-Canadian Stanley Cup final to be still alive. So, the Jets, I mean, they're in there too. What I want to see is the Jets-Oilers West final. That'd be fun. So that's why I'll go Oilers in 7. And do
you want a bold prediction?
Yeah, you can give a bold for it to end here, yeah.
Whoever wins game 1 will win the series. I don't know. I have a gut feeling. I don't know. It's good. Game 1 tomorrow. It's gonna be fun to watch that. But I'm gonna say whoever wins tomorrow night will win the entire series. No idea why, but I get a gut feeling. It's gonna be a lot of fun though.
All right. Well, that'll be in Vegas for game 1 later tonight because this is getting released in you guys are watching in the morning of the game. So game 1 going right away. So make sure to check out everything at thehockeyriders.com where I'll have recaps, takeaways, all that fun stuff. And there's already preview stuff out there for the series as well. So make sure to check out all the written content as you're watching this video. But until our next one, we'll see who's still left standing in the Western Conference Final. We'll see who's back here. But until our next one, we'll see you next time.